What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Paris and I make videos all about candle making and the starting and managing of my small candle business, Lady Simone Candle Co. I am back with part 2 of this 2-part video, where in my latest video I was testing a new wax, which is Coco Apricot Wax, which I absolutely fell in love with, but I'll save my feedback for later on in this video. And so here I am going to show you some footage of the burn sessions that I conducted, give you a few tips on what you should look for when testing a candle, of course give my feedback about the wax, and go into the details of the giveaway. So let's just get started.
Yeah.
Hi y'all, excuse the bump, but I am about to conduct my first burn test, and I wanted to show you all how smooth this top is. One pour, no heat gun, and it cured so smooth. Highly impressed with that, because you know, with anybody that's used to using 464 or even the coconut soy blend, which is what I use, I still tend to get a sinkhole or rough tops every now and then. So I'm going to go ahead and take my pliers, my cutters here, and just go ahead and trim my wick and light it up. And we'll go ahead and see how this bad boy operates. Now we are in my half bath, which for my 9-ounce jars, I typically test them and recommend customers to use them in like half baths, smaller bedrooms, you know, if you're like smaller apartments or smaller living spaces. I feel it works best. So I have lit it up, and we are going to check it every hour, and I will update you when we come back. All right. All right. So 3 hours later, and here we have reached a full melt pool. Yay! I will say the scent throw is impeccable. Pretty impressed for this to be a natural wax. Again, we're in my half bath, so literally walking out, this is where I begin to smell it. So as I'm approaching the half bath, I literally get a full sense of the black sea scent that I used in the candle. Sorry if the quality kind of changed. I'm on my iPhone now. So anyway, again, this is a 9-ounce straight-sided jar. It took 3 hours to reach full melt pull. So this was my first burn session. Again, scent throw, it was very impressive actually. It retained scent throw quite well. This is our half bath, and so you can smell it leading up to our half bathroom. If I had to compare it to the coconut soy wax that I use for my line, I would say it's about the same in terms of how it retains scent throw, but I will say this wax does pack a little bit more punch. But remember guys, it also depends on how strong your fragrance is. Black Sea is a strong, kind of a masculine scent. So I'm not surprised that I'm getting the punch that I'm getting for this to be a natural wax. So that's one tip to keep in mind when you're choosing fragrance oils. The lighter the fragrance, don't expect a huge punch, especially when using natural wax. When you're using more of a stronger wax, especially more on the woodsy and masculine side, you can expect a little bit more punch, but again, you're still working with natural wax. So for this to be a natural wax, I'm pretty impressed with the scent punch. Very creamy. It cured pretty white. It's more white than even the cocoa soy blend that I used. It was pretty white, which I love. That creamy, sleek look. Smooth tops. After my one pour, I did not have to get my heat gun out at all. So yeah, those are my first initial impressions. Easy to work with. It does come in slabs. But because of how creamy and soft it is, very easy to cut, which you should have seen in my previous video when I was making the actual candle. So there you go. So I'm going to let this sit overnight. Tomorrow I'm going to trim the wick, do a second burn session, and then come back with my final thoughts and giveaway deets. So stay tuned. All right, everyone, excuse my kind of new area of recording. It is a real gloomy day here in Columbus, Ohio. Toddler is napping, so I am knocking out this little piece of recording while I can. So a few tips on what you should look for when conducting burn sessions. I have my notes over here to the left. So I get a lot of questions about wick testing and how frustrating it can be, and I can completely understand that. But at the end of the day, you want a quality candle for your customers, right? So it's best to spend a lot of time searching for the right wick than it is to just kind of, go with whatever wick you think is best and go from there and the candle not burn properly. I always suggest for beginners is when you are buying a jar, buying wax, whether it's from the same supplier or even different suppliers, I always recommend reaching out to their customer service, either via email or their phone number. And oftentimes, some supplier websites, such as Candle Science, have a wick guide where you can select the type of wax you're using, select the diameter of your jar, which are two components of a candle that truly makes a difference in how your candle performs and what type of wick you're going to need. Always reach out. That's what I did. And always get at least 1 to 3 recommendations if they even recommend that many. And then buy a small quantity of those wicks and test from there. When it comes to conducting burn tests, I actually have a video on how to calculate the burn time of your candle once you pick a wick, which is great for marketing and putting on your website. But when it actually comes to testing a wick and conducting burn sessions, testing scent throw, making sure your wick performs adequately, you do want to conduct at least 2 to 3 burn sessions. When I first started making candles, I did like 3 to 4 burn sessions just because, I'm new. You want to make sure everything is like up to par. But now that I'm a little seasoned in the craft, I do 2 to 3. Sometimes, depending on my time frame, I'll just conduct 2. At this point, I have an eye to determine if I like the wax, and if it's burning properly, I can immediately tell. And so you want to conduct at least 2 to 3 burn sessions, and you want to make sure that each burn session is at least 2 to 3 hours, depending on how big or small your jar is, right? Obviously, the bigger, you probably can stretch it to 3 to 4 hours if it's one of those double wick or even 3 wick candle jars. But if you're just working with a single wick, kind of those maybe 10 ounces or less type candle jars, then 2 to 3 hours should be sufficient. And what you're looking for is a full melt pool. You want to achieve, or you are looking to achieve, a full melt pool within that 2 to 3 hour time frame. Other things you are looking for when conducting burn sessions is the flame height, which is very, very important for safety. As you do not want your jar to get too hot. You are trying to reduce as much soot and black streaks on your jar. And then of course, you don't want a hazardous candle, right? And so when it comes to looking at your flame should be 1/2 inch to 2 inches high approximately, with the 1/2 inch gearing towards more the smaller, like votifs type jars, where the 2 inches going more towards the normal size single wick candle jars. The next thing you want to look for is what the flame is producing. Yes, you want to look for scent throw, right? I always tell beginners, make sure you are testing your candle in the appropriate room size. So make sure you're testing your candle appropriately. So you do not want to test like a 4-ounce jar in a big kitchen. And then you come and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't smell anything. My scent throw sucks. And it's probably not even the wick or your formula or what you've done. It's just the jar is too small for that size room. So make sure you're testing in the appropriate room size. And then what you want to look for is that your flame is not producing too much smoke. I mean, you are more than likely burning a cotton wick, so you're going to produce anything that you put fire to, it's going to smoke, right? But you do not want your flame to produce too much smoke while the flame is actually on and you're seeing black smoke come up from it. That's not a good sign. You also want to look for if your candle is producing soot, right? Because that's going to be something you want to maybe be prepared to answer if your customers have that question, because sometimes when you're burning a candle, especially in the same spot, it can produce black smoke or black residue on customers' walls or counters and things like that. Also, you want to look for if your wick is dancing and flickering around. That's not good. That typically means that your wick is either too big or you just didn't trim it well enough. So you should have a slow, steady flame. Lastly, I just want to give some beginner to intermediate candle makers out there just something to think about, because this is a question that I often get, is when you're working with natural wax, you have some natural waxes that can produce a stronger scent throw than others. So for example, soy wax, if you're familiar, that's the wax I started out with that I am proficient in at this point. The 464 actually. The scent throw is not impeccable, right? It's not blowing you away at all. However, with the formula that I used when I was working with 464, typically using a 10% fragrance load with my 9-ounce jars, my scent throw was pretty spot on in the appropriate size room. So when you begin selling candles on your website, all that stuff, when you're promoting on Instagram, be sure to be transparent and have integrity with your products and be honest about appropriate room size. And the fact that you're using a natural wax is typically why the scent throw will be moderate as it is. Now, when you move to more of the blends, like the cocoa soy blend, which is what I currently use for my line, I do get a lot better of a scent throw, which I am thoroughly pleased about. And where I test and burn my candles in the room size or bathroom sizes that I burn them in, I am satisfied with the scent throw. So just remember that when you're working with natural wax blends, that do not expect a scent throw that models a paraffin or even a paraffin blend, or, you know, large competitors that you buy your candles from and you're expecting to achieve that same scent throw with more of a natural wax or a natural blend wax. You can adjust your formula. You can adjust, you know, how you make your candles, your process. For example, I typically like to add my fragrance oils at a lower temp to avoid the fragrance oil burn off. So little tips like that, which I have demonstrated throughout on my channel, just about in every video. You can adjust, you know, and tweak your process and things like that to make your scent throw a lot more stronger. But do keep in mind that with natural wax, natural blends, it's not going to be as impeccable as maybe a paraffin, which is known for achieving super strong hot throws. However, if you decide to work with natural wax or natural blends, it is a great marketing tool because a lot of customers and a lot of people prefer natural products. Now for my thoughts about the Coco Apricot Wax from Maryland Wax Club. I was super impressed, like thoroughly impressed. First of all, the consistency of the wax was nothing I've ever experienced. With the soy 464 that I first started out with, came in flakes, and so it just was wax flakes. It wasn't anything really to be mesmerized about in terms of the consistency or the feel of the wax. It was just wax flakes, boom, bow. With my cocoa soy blend, they do come in slabs, and it is, compared to the cocoa apricot, it is a lot more of a harder wax. And I could tell the difference because when I'm working with slabs, I carve out the amount of wax I need. So when using the cocoa apricot wax, I was very, very amazed at how easy it was to cut through and carve out the amount of wax that I needed. It did come in slabs, which I'm fine with working with. I know a lot of people prefer flakes because it's a lot easier. I actually am fine with working with slabs. I have my carving tool and I work it out. It was super soft. It almost felt like I was cutting into butter. That's how soft it was. It was very luxurious in how it looked and how it felt. It almost was like a body butter. And so I love that. And cocoa apricot is considered more of a luxury wax anyway. So the expectations were there and it gave me exactly pretty much what I was expecting. I will say in terms of scent throw, compared to the cocoa soy, it does pack more of a punch when it comes to scent throw compared to the cocoa soy blend, which is what I use, the C6. And so I was highly impressed with that. When I test my 9-ounce jars, I typically test them in our half bath and our full bathrooms. And then I'll normally test 2 in our kitchen because of the size of our kitchen. And I was very, very impressed with the scent throw. So compared with the cocoa soy blend and this cocoa apricot blend, it did give me much more of a punch. Very, very creamy. It comes out more on the white side when it cures. It actually cures quite quickly. I was surprised at how quick I had to work in terms of pouring the candle. It cures a lot faster than the cocoa soy blend. I normally let my my wax cool to about 140, 145, and I already begin to see it set. So it does cure quite quickly, which is fine. If that's the wax you choose to work with, just know that compared to like a soy or a cocoa soy, you have to maybe adjust your process to avoid it curing quickly in the pouring pitcher. Another thing that I've noticed is the tops, smooth tops. I did not have to pull out my heat gun at all when I made that candle. It cured beautifully, quickly, beautifully, and it achieved a very smooth top, and I loved it. And it burned beautifully, as you saw in my previous clips with the burn session. So I thoroughly enjoyed working with this wax, and I think it's a pretty easy wax to work with for beginners as well. So for the giveaway deets, here is what you need to do to enter and possibly win the giveaway. The giveaway is a 10 pounds of the Coco Apricot Blend Wax from Maryland Wax Club. This is in collaboration with her. Her name is Mika. She's the owner of Maryland Wax Club. And so to participate in the giveaway, you need to follow Maryland Wax Club on Instagram. You need to like Maryland Wax Club on Facebook, and then you also need to visit the site, marylandwaxclub.com, and sign up to the mailing list. Also, I will also put a question in the description box along with all her details, but I will put a question in the description box for you to answer in the comment section, and by those who submit the answer, plus follow all of the follow and like instructions for her and her pages, that is how I will randomly do with my random selector tool that I have here on my laptop. I will then randomly select a winner, pass your name on to her. She will then check to make sure that you have followed her IG, liked her Facebook, and is on the mailing list. And from there, I will connect you both. You will, of course, give her your address, and she will then mail you out your prize. So that is the giveaway details in collaboration with her. I was super excited to work with her. She is indeed a sweetheart. I love supporting my fellow Black women, my fellow Black businesses, and so whatever I can do to kind of spread the word and give my thoughts on their products and encourage other candle makers to do the same, I will. Small businesses are the backbone of our community, so I truly believe in supporting one another. That is how we win. That is how we grow together. And so that is the details. Again, check the description box. All of the information will be there as well. And until next time, bye.